Hello and welcome to my podcast. My name is Andrea Hackel and I'm your queer life coach. On this podcast, we will take a queer perspective on the deeper meaning of life and discuss topics related to self-help, personal growth, and spirituality through an inclusive lens. Together, we will also explore tools and practices that will help you live a more empowered and authentic life. Thank you so much for joining. Now let's get started with today's episode. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited you're here, and I'm super excited today about talking about the topic of chosen family. We have our first podcast guest today, and it's someone super special. I was actually thinking before the episode if I should kind of prepare some remarks about what I want to say about you, Jenny, but I figured I'll just let it come from the heart. So we have here today Jenny Edmondson, and Jenny's a lot of things, and I'll let you introduce yourself, but I just want to say Jenny is not only the best ex-wife that someone could ask for, but an amazing friend, a shoulder to cry on, someone who can always make me laugh, and yeah, just an amazing person. That is Jenny. And with that, I want to let you introduce yourself and also tell us your pronouns.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Jenny. She, they, but I really don't care. And I'm a nanny. I'm a professional full-time nanny. However, that is soon going to be coming to a close, and I'm going to try to have my own nonprofit.
So I already know a little bit about the nonprofit, and it's really cool, but can you tell the listeners more about it?
Yes, it is the Creative Pathways Collective, and it's going to be right now it's not a physical place, but eventually we would like to have our own physical space. But that's going to be in the future, because right now this is just in the beginnings of becoming anything. So we're still not sure exactly what it's going to be, but we know for a fact it's going to be helping families in the Oakland, Berkeley area who need help with their kids before birth, after birth, teenagers, helping them become financially literate. That's Sonia's side of things, my partner, who I'm doing this with. But yeah, it's going to be like a community center, a place for people to come if they need diapers or they need a babysitter last minute so they can go to a job interview. We're going to be a one-stop shop. That's what I'm hoping.
The nonprofit sounds amazing, and I can't wait to see how it evolves and all of that, because I think that's going to be just really impactful. In addition to the many roles that you play, you're also my go-to astrologer. Do you want to talk more about that too?
Oh, well, it's right now it's just a hobby. I'm not making money out of it. I don't know if I ever want to make money out of it. It's just something I really enjoy doing and I have an interest in it. So it's fun for me. It's fun. And it's also really accurate.
You're so good at it. And I know there were many times when I sent you texts for some emergency readings over the last year. So really appreciate it.
Really, even before the last year.
Yeah, that's true. For the last several years.
Yeah.
So today I really want to talk about, I hope to have you on frequently on the show because there's so many things I want to talk to you about. But I really wanted to bring you in for this topic of chosen family because I really consider you as part of my chosen family. And we've had such an interesting journey getting to the place we're in right now in terms of our friendship. So I want to start it off by asking you, what does chosen family mean to you?
People who show up. Because what is family? What is family anyway? What does it mean? I think it means something different for everyone. But for me, it means people who show up in your life. People who aren't just there, but who show up for you. And so chosen family is family that is not blood related. So anyone that's not tied to you genetically.
Who shows up, but it's not tied to you genetically?
Yeah, who shows up in the way that you would think a parent would show up, or a sibling would show up, or a cousin or an uncle. people who fill those spaces.
It's interesting hearing you say people who fill those spaces, because it just reminds me, I feel like, especially as queer people or people in the community, chosen family has such a deep meaning for us. And when you said people who fill those places, is because I do feel like our community, lots of people have experienced being turned away from their family, or yeah, feeling a kind of void when it comes to biological family.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the language that you're using in terms of filling those, did you say places?
Filling a void, filling that spot, like a position, because
Mm-hmm.
every person needs to have that community, that family, people that fill certain roles, people who do certain things for you, and people who you do things for as well, reciprocal. But yeah, I think it speaks to anyone that doesn't have a family that shows up for them for whatever reason. And there's a lot of us out there that don't have family that show up for us. Like, a lot of queer people are homeless because they don't have a family. And so I think that's why chosen family is so important in our community, is because we need it. Like, our lives depend on it to have that support and community, because we're so shunned in society. I mean, it's getting better, but really just outcasts. And for outcasts, you need a community. It's so important.
Yeah. Just thinking about us, like and we'll talk about our journey in a little bit, but
Oh,
just
yeah.
thinking about, I spent some time in Ohio, then we met in
Yeah.
Baltimore, and then we were super privileged to move to Oakland. And every now and then I have to remind myself, because I start taking it for granted, that I walk around and there's queer people everywhere. And yeah, I have to remind myself every now and then not to take that for granted.
And even in places like Oakland, it's still hard to find community. I think just because of the times we're living in, like, everyone lives on their phone and online. So everyone needs community. Just right now, especially, everyone needs community. But yeah, it's even in places like Oakland, it's still hard. So just imagine how hard it is in places like rural Ohio.
And I mean, just thinking about myself, we talked about me growing up in a small town. But yeah, I remember growing up, I was very in the closet that I thought it would never come out. It wasn't something I even dared to think about. But yeah, I don't remember seeing any queer people growing up. And if there were like maybe one or two at school, those were the people everyone made fun of. And I was already like such a unique kid in a way, let's put it that way,
Me
that would
too.
have been way too much. Or in my head, I was like, no, that's definitely not going to happen. But yeah, if you don't have queer people, trans people, non binary people, if you don't have kind of the or not even role models, but just everyday people representing that, it's so hard to even imagine yourself ever coming to a place being comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, it is really isolating and hard to go outside and not see anyone that is like you. So why would you come out of the closet? Why would it be safe to come out and be who you are if there's no one around like you or openly like you? It makes it seem like a secret or something shameful. No one wants to be the only one of anything.
I'm going to ask you to tell our story, or what you want to like tell about our story. But I will say we've gone through a beautiful process of transforming a marriage that was not really happy or fulfilling for both of us into an amazing friendship. And I personally feel like I've learned so much through this process of conscious uncoupling, or whatever you want to call it. So I would love to talk about that today.
Yeah,
And
I'm down.
yeah, that's awesome. And to get us started, do you want to tell us a little bit more about our story?
Well, we met, gosh, what was it, 2012, right?
Yeah.
It was 20. Well, first we met in 2012 in the summertime at a tie-dye party. and I was going through a horrible breakup with someone, and I was not in a good mood. I didn't want to be at that tie-dye party because it was their like friends and stuff, but I went because I was still trying to save that marriage. I was married before. And I remember seeing you and instantly not liking you. Just in my head, I felt like this person, like, I just had all these thoughts. But like I said, I was in a bad mood. So I was like, I bet they're over there talking about something really serious and boring. And I don't know. I thought you looked stuck up. Probably you thought the same thing about me.
Can I just quickly add what we actually talked about?
Go for it. Yeah.
Jenny told me when we first met, she thought me and my friends are a bit much, and we were discussing
Not a
something
bit
that
much.
passionate.
The opposite of a bit much. It was just, you
Tied
guys
up.
looked so somber and serious. I was a little judgy about what I thought you and your friends were talking about. I thought they were over in the corner, like talking in really hushed tones, and they were very serious. And I thought they were just having like one of those like, conversations. But it turns out you weren't talking about that at all.
Yeah, we were. So we had a serious conversation, but it was me and my friend Unica. She could not believe that I'm Team Jennifer Aniston and not Team Angelina Jolie. And we had a pretty intense conversation about that because she would not believe it.
Yeah. And so if I knew that, it would have been way different. But anyway, so we met there and briefly, we didn't even talk to each other. I think something about like, can you pass me the hot dog buns? Maybe something like that. But we didn't see each other for a few months. And then October, what was it, 30th? Doesn't matter.
Maybe October 27th.
It was the weekend, it was Halloween, and I had just gotten divorced. And I was in the city and I was hanging out with my then best friend, Ernest. And we were just, like feeling spontaneous. We weren't planning to go out and celebrate that night or do anything because I was kind of still like sad. And we were just like, oh, well, up the street, isn't there a gay bar? We should go and see what they're doing. And so we got dressed up and we went, and that's how we met. You were on the dance floor and you bumped into me, and I turned around and I could tell you had some to drink, just a little. And you just looked like I just had a good feeling. Like I felt like familiar. You felt familiar. And just getting out of that relationship, and, when you're going through a breakup, you feel kind of low on yourself. And so it was nice to bump into someone and have that feeling like, oh, I guess it's not, my life isn't over. There are other people out there. And then after that, we just became like best friends. Best friends, but it was complicated with us trying to force something that wasn't there. So we had that friendship that immediately was there and didn't go away at all during the entire relationship. We were always friends. I think we forced ourselves to call it a relationship because we were in Baltimore, and Baltimore is very small. So I think we forced ourselves to be in that relationship thinking, well, you're attractive, I'm attractive, we're, stable. It like all the boxes were checked. It was just missing that desire part of the relationship. But we just fooled ourselves because we were too scared to let go of our friendship. And so our friendship kept us in an unhappy marriage.
Then we got married, even though we both knew it wasn't right.
Our wedding photos are so awkward. You should probably share those at some point.
Maybe I should post one on Instagram, yeah.
The one where your hands are just in your lap, and I don't look great either.
It wasn't a very great time in our lives.
No, it was a rough patch.
It was a real rough patch.
One long rough patch.
Was that Saturn return?
I think, yes, it was. I think we were pretty, not deep in it, but we were definitely getting spanked with it.
We will have to talk more about the Saturn return on a future episode.
That's a whole thing. The next
8 years were just really challenging for
Oh, I was
both
gonna
of
say a
us.
nightmare. They were a nightmare, but that's positive. That's a positive twist. It was challenging.
I remember right before COVID, we had a conversation about, are we still in this? Does it still make sense to stay married? And then a couple days later, the COVID pandemic hit. But I think, I can't remember if we ever talked about it or if it was a silent agreement. I think both of us were like, we're not gonna just be miserable for this whole time, just us in the apartment together. I think we
Yeah,
made a really conscious effort to kind of focus on what's working.
I think we're both so positive, and that's one of the other things that kept us together because we both have a very positive outlook on life and how we want our lives to be. We don't want to wallow in things, and so I think we knew this shit is going to be hard. We can either go down this road or down this road. And so I think we knew, like, let's just, it's going to be over at some point. Let's get through this. This is my best friend. I'm not going to be able to do it without you. Just imagine if we got divorced before COVID or during COVID.
Oh my God, that would have been,
I wouldn't have been able to do it.
I mean, obviously, COVID was a crazy experience for everyone. And I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole right now
Mm,
because, yeah, it was horrible.
yes.
I feel like, at least from my side, I entered one of the most challenging periods of my life where I really had to look at some deep emotional scars. And I feel like that was really the start. I mean, we had always been friends, but for me, that's really the time when that transformation from a mediocre marriage to a really strong friendship
Yeah,
kind of happened. Do you want to talk more about that?
that is true. Our friendship did deepen. It's almost like we were friends at first, like really good friends, but we became best friends once our marriage started to really fall apart, and we were tested. I think after Trump winning, and then immediately like my mom dying, and then your dad dying. Like after that, that's when it started to, like, we were just faced with so many different heavy things and forced to process all of this trauma from childhood together, our own separate traumas, like the aftermath of losing a complicated parent. Yeah, it was around that time where we became best friends because while we could see our marriage crumbling, or not even crumbling, just realizing, seeing it for what it wasn't a real marriage, like seeing that, but also at the same time seeing that we're helping one another get through this hard time that we're both going through. I don't know, it was almost surreal. And but yeah, you became my best friend. At the same time, I was terrified to lose you as a best friend and as a family member. You were more like family. So divorce, just when COVID hit, didn't feel like the best idea because we were already both so hurt from losing our parents and all of that drama, and then hit with COVID. It was like I think we could see that we need our friendship right now, and anything we need to face, this, what we have here, is strong enough to last. Like I think we had that trust and faith in each other, maybe the first time we ever trusted someone else, like that trust that, okay, that person is going to be there for me. Like kind of deep down, I think we knew that.
Yeah, it was it was a really difficult process, but now looking back and just reflecting on how many people might not have someone by their side going through that, it just makes me so grateful that you were there for me through that time. I don't know what that process would have looked like without you there.
It would have been ugly for both of us. And also, I think it just really enforces the decision we made to get a divorce, because if we were that strong and our friendship was that deep, even beyond friendship, just like this trust and able to have each other's back, if that was so strong and we still couldn't make it work, because that's like a huge thing most couples don't have. They don't have that trust. They have the attraction, but it just really goes to show, like, we were always just meant to be friends.
Yeah. And one moment I would love to talk about, if that's okay for you, because that showed me so much. It taught me so much about just kindness and kind of seeing the humanness in other people. Problems in a marriage again were deep. I was really struggling professionally. And I remember this one day, I think you came home from work. I might not recall all the details, but here's how I remember it. I remember you coming home from work. It was during the COVID pandemic, so I was super isolated. And I remember saying to you, I think I remember something from childhood. And you could tell how upset and hurt I was. And I remember you texting your bosses that you can't come in the next day. I just knew you had my back. Being there for someone in a vulnerable moment like that, it's probably like the best gift anyone has ever given to me. That was kind of the turning point for me where we started seeing each other more as humans and
Yes.
kindred spirits and souls. Like we were
Whole
way more,
family.
yeah, soul
Whole
family,
family.
where it was more like, okay, this person needs my support right now. It doesn't matter if our marriage is working or not, but like I need to help a fellow human being. And that's something that I will forever appreciate and forever be grateful for. Because I know not everyone has that.
I've had a similar experience with you. I'm sure there are more, but this is like the biggest one I can think of, is that you stood up to my aunt who had said something very hurtful to me. You stood up to her, and so many people are intimidated by her and unable to stand up to her because she is such a force. And I could tell that you did not give a shit. And you were there for me. You were like, we will leave. It was hours away from where we lived at the time. And you were like, we'll just like pay for a lift. And you are the cheapest person, besides my now girlfriend, Sonia, the cheapest person I know. And you just, because you are so cheap, you just saying, oh, we'll pay whatever it is to just get out of here, because they're not going to talk to you like that and not going to treat you like that. And that's when I like really knew, all right, even though like we're having such a hard time in our marriage and arguing all the time and like just knowing in our gut that this isn't right, you still had my back. So that's really rare that you can find other people. And that's why you're not going anywhere. You are always going to be in my life because you can't find that. And believe me, I've looked.
I appreciate you. So, yeah, and then we moved to California together around the time this episode comes out in a couple of weeks. It's going to be around our 3-year anniversary here in California,
Oh,
which is really cool.
wow.
So we moved to California when we were still married. And then I remember coming to California and thinking, wow, this is going to be our big reset for our marriage. But that didn't happen. We
But
decided
did you
to,
genuinely think that?
I think I was hoping, maybe not genuinely thinking, but hoping. And you know how hard it is for me to let go. Do you remember the moment? Because I remember it so clearly, that moment when we decided to divorce. Do you want to
Oh,
tell that? Because it was so.
that's one of my favorite memories. Isn't that
Mine
funny?
too. Is that sad?
No, I think it's great. So we were at that point still sleeping in the same bed, right?
Yeah, but more like friends.
Well, yeah, it's always been like that. So we were still sleeping in the same bed, and we would always read before bed. And so I was brushing my teeth, and you were reading in bed, and it was like 10 o'clock at night. We were doing our same routine. And I just remember glancing at you and thinking, you look really sad.
And I
And that,
guess, sorry, just to
hmm?
preface this, we were in the middle of like having all these conversations about how to move forward. And that's
So
why I
this
was really
wasn't like
sad.
a out of nowhere thing. Definitely, we've been talking about this isn't really working. Do we want to try to work on it? Let's just see how it goes. I think we both knew that it was ending. We were just both afraid to pull the trigger. So that night, looking at you and seeing you look so sad, that made me want to pull the trigger. Like, I'm like, I can't watch you be this sad anymore. I could see that you were completely just down, the lowest I've seen you. I've seen you low. And I'm like, we're not doing this. We need to be happy. I looked at you and I thought, we both need to be happy. We deserve to be happy. We've lived such hard lives. Why are we doing this to ourselves? And I just thought, we can't do this anymore. We can't keep hurting each other, because that's essentially what we were, and hurting ourselves. And so I just asked you, do you want to get a divorce, Andrea? Would you want to get a divorce? And I remember you just broke into tears. And I'm like, yeah, I do too. Why don't we just do that?
You said to me, Andrea, if it's about losing the friendship, you don't, or losing this, meaning us just hang out and stuff, you don't have to worry about that. We'll still have that. If you want to get a divorce, I'm okay with it.
I knew that's what it was. I could just feel that you wanted to be my friend. We were both feeling the same thing. So yeah, I wanted to reassure you. And I think in that moment, you could see like a light switched on. And we were both the happiest we had been. And a really, like, we were sad, of course, but I could see both of us had like a shine that wasn't there before. Do you know what I mean? Did you feel that, like this, like, joy?
It almost felt like a weight off my shoulder of all that anxiety and sadness and confusion that I'm sure we both carried. And for me, I think the wildest part was because and you know this, there's no such thing as a happy divorce in my family. No. And
But anywhere, really, like, it's rare.
it's,
Those two
yeah,
words don't go together.
for me, I had the picture in my head of divorce is really ugly, brings out the worst in people. And it was just something really scary. And I think that
Yeah.
was another reason why I was really hesitant to get a divorce. But you also helped me see that no, it doesn't have to be that way. We can make it our own process.
Well, my parents never got divorced. That's the reason I stayed. I also saw my parents, like, being a hot mess and still staying together. And so in my head, that's just what you do. Like, you just stay no matter what. So staying together was the most important thing, not breaking a promise. That was another big thing to me, because a lot of broken promises growing up. So keeping my word, not breaking my promise, not leaving my friend when they need me. And you needed me, and I needed you. So that's why we stayed together.
And I remember we also worked with a therapist for a couple sessions who kind of helped us
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. And that was an interesting process.
I
It's
think that's a
been
great idea. People should definitely, like, they have like couples therapy. Why not have divorce couples therapy to help you get to that place? Because I really think that helped us a lot.
So yeah, I want to actually talk more about that. I would love to hear your thoughts on your experience going through that process of realizing we really have to end this marriage, to then living as roommates for about half a year, working with the therapist, and then moving into our individual places and still being best friends. I would love to hear your thoughts about that process.
While we became roommates, we went into separate bedrooms because we had two bedrooms. We had the most fun we've had our entire marriage.
We
That year,
really, we really did.
we were laughing hysterically, packing up boxes, and just, we had like a dance party the night before we moved out. It was great.
Yeah, it was such an amazing process, and I've learned so much about myself. Being open to owning your own stuff and your own role and taking responsibility for that. I feel like us both getting to that point where we're able to do that of, okay, I'm taking responsibility for my side of things, and I'm open to hearing what my areas for growth are or where my blind spots are. And you probably have more to say about this than me because you're in a relationship. I'm not. I would assume then that the next relationship would really benefit from that.
I think a lot of people are in long relationships that don't work. and they come out of the end of it not really looking at what they've learned. And I think that's the problem, is that people don't look at their own actions. They just focus on what is the other person doing. And I think it really helped that we both did so much personal therapy during those years, like 2020. When 2020 hit, we saw a therapist and we realized that we had CPTSD, complex post traumatic stress disorder. And so I think working through that really helped us. We were more receptive to looking at what we did, not just, oh, you did something wrong. Like, what did I do wrong? What can I learn from that experience? And I think we could both see that we were doing that work. And that's another reason we were able to be friends, because we would each like have like this little back and forth, like, well, I did this and I know I did this, and just like taking ownership.
Yeah. And that was for me too. It just seemed so much more growth oriented because we used to have fights where it was a lot of blaming, and that's how we went in circles and
A lot of
never really
bringing up
got
things from
anywhere.
years ago and just like recycling arguments.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And then going from that to really, yeah, taking responsibility and looking at our own stuff, that was an amazing process. And then especially working with the therapist too, also kind of using that to reflect on what we individually in new relationships might want to do differently. it's
Yeah.
been it's been such a fascinating experience. What do you feel is the most important lesson that you've learned about yourself during
Through this
this
process,
process? Yeah.
I've learned that I need to look at what I want and be my own advocate for what I want, and not expect someone else to just serve it to me on a plate. Like, we need to ask for what we want. We need to say what we want. We need to communicate our needs and desires, because other people can't read our minds. I think when you're an empath, and you and I are both empaths, you kind of, since you know you can kind of feel what other people are feeling, you kind of trick yourself into thinking everyone is like that. Oh, they know how I'm feeling. Like, you just build resentment because you're doing XYZ, thinking they're going to reciprocate or they're going to do this because you do that. And you can't expect someone else to just know what you want and need and what they should do. Being more mindful of how I feel, what I want. That's another thing. Speaking up about what I want instead of being silent and silently wishing someone would just figure out what I need. Because growing up, I think you have a similar experience. We're not used to someone caring for our needs. So we had to care for them ourselves. So we're not used to speaking up and saying, care for me, please, because it's always been met with rejection. And so I am relearning how to ask for help and accept help.
That is hard. Especially you, I know you've had like so much responsibility growing up, and yeah, there wasn't really a concern for your needs. So it's hard suddenly being in a position where you're allowed to have needs.
Yes. And so just letting that go, letting go of the fact that I can't change anyone but myself. I just think that's where most relationships go wrong. You go in and you think, oh, that's okay. I can fix that. Like, a lot of people think that, or, oh, that's okay. It's going to go away. Like, there's like this idea in your head that there's room for this to change, or for them to do something different. Like, oh, they drink too much, but I'm sure we can fix that. We'll like address it later. And even smaller things, I think that's one thing I've learned, and it really has helped so much. Like, everyone's different. We can't expect everyone to do things the way we do them, or like the things that we like, or show love the way that we show love. I think even when it's difficult, accepting that the other person is their own person and you can't change them or their behaviors or things they like or want to do, you have to accept them wherever the heck they are. And if you can't accept it, then you have to move on. You know, be respectful of yourself and the other person, and just move on. Don't stay if it's not working. just more thinking more in terms of myself. Like, what do I want from this? Is it giving me what I want? Are they not giving me what I want? Is it something where they have to change something? Well, that's up to them. Like, you really have to check in with yourself a lot about what you want. And that's what I've learned. So I constantly check in with myself and ask, what do I want? Well, if I want that, why don't I say that and speak up? Because if I don't say anything, then I'm just going to resent the other person. Like, it really is giving me confidence in who I am and what I want.
Exactly. I think that helped us become clear on what we want to do differently in future relationships. And I definitely want to bring those learnings into my next relationship because it really showed me that by taking responsibility and holding ourselves accountable, that we can really transform a lot of that resentment, anger into a much healthier relationship,
Yeah,
no matter what that looks like.
because I think we go into things with all the trauma we've experienced and you're on defense mode. And so when you're on defense mode, you're not really, like, even though you're an empath, you're not really looking at the other person's perspective. You're just feeling things and absorbing things and making sure you don't get hurt from the things that are happening around you. And so, yeah, I think it makes you more aware.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. And I think I would also add, especially for two people who maybe didn't have the healthiest relationship models growing up, I feel like it was hard to imagine doing it a healthier way. But at the same time, it almost gave us that freedom to do it our way.
Yeah.
And kind of like, oh, we don't have to fight through this and fight over money. Let's just do it our way. And I just learned so much through this process.
It was really empowering, actually. Like, just saying, no, we don't have to follow those patterns. We can break generational trauma. We don't have to look around us and say, this is the blueprint, we need to follow it. People, when they break up, they're fighting, they're not happy with each other, they don't get along, or they tolerate each other at best.
First of all, I want to say it's just seeing you in your new relationship and how happy you are. It makes me so happy. And
Well,
you really deserve it.
love exists, but it's just hard work.
Yeah,
It doesn't come easy. So believe in love, but also put some effort into what you're doing with who you're doing it with.
that's a really good
Because
way
it's
to
not
put it.
easy. We work. And that's why it's good.
Is there anything you want to add in terms of lessons from our process of conscious uncoupling that you took into your new relationship?
Oh God, so much. Now I like, because I am an emotional person, but in times of stress I can easily detach and be the calm one if someone else is upset. But it made me feel like, you know what? I need to pull myself back because I need to take care of this person, because that's how I grew up. Like, that was part of my trauma, being a caretaker, caring for my mother, caring for my father. I've gotten better at allowing myself to feel upset even if someone else is upset at the same time, because I think I built resentment against you for that, because for so long, like, you were the more emotionally demonstrative one. And that's something I love about you, and it's one of, I think, one of your gifts. But it made me feel like, you know what, I need to pull myself back because I need to take care of this person. But anyway, I know now that that's my responsibility. Like, I need to take responsibility for that. But yeah, I'm trying to bring that into my current relationship. And that's why I don't look back at things that have happened and think, oh, I wish that didn't happen. It's because, no, it made me a better person. It made me learn about myself and know what I need to fix. Like, that's why it's good to put yourself out there and experience a lot of things and mess up and be okay messing up. You have to learn. And so, coming into this relationship I'm in now, you and Sonia have a lot of similarities that I know now when Sonia says or does something that you would do and say, and we would get into it because of like whatever clash or misunderstanding. Now I'm like, oh, no, now I know what to do. It's like going to college. You were my college course on a relationship. Like, you are my first healthy relationship. I know that sounds sad because it didn't work out and there were so many problems, but healthy as in you were wanting to work on yourself while I wanted to work on myself.
It's a different dynamic. If like
Mhm.
two people want to work on themselves and kind of be their best selves, it creates a whole different dynamic where you
And
can really
so,
grow so much through the relationship.
so my relationship with Sonia, she's also in a similar position to me, like recently divorced, and I have some similarities with this person that she was with previous. And so we both have been talking about, now I know what to do. Now I'm seeing certain things that I'm doing that maybe isn't the best thing to do, or maybe like I shouldn't do it that way. Self-awareness as I'm with her. I'll stop myself from doing things I would have done in the past or said in the past, like certain reactions. And I take time. I give myself time because I'm very reactive. So, like, my point is, you taught me so much.
I mean,
So, we
I've
had
learned,
actually a great relationship, if you think about it.
if you really look at what we learned about ourselves and how
Yeah.
I've grown as a person, because you definitely helped me become a better person in a lot of ways. So if I look at the relationship in that way, it was a great success.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a great success, but it wasn't the definition of what a marriage is. We had a great relationship, but we didn't have a great marriage.
Yeah.
But
And
it would have been way nicer if we'd made that decision a little bit earlier, but then we wouldn't be here.
that is my thing. If we would have broken up in DC, you might have not moved to California, and then a
I wouldn't
lot
meet
of
Sonia.
things you wouldn't have met Sonia. Our friendship would have been more difficult to see each other as much. You really love California too, so there's different ways to look at it. But for me, I'm now trying to see things more of like, oh, maybe it was perfect timing. Maybe it had to happen exactly that way.
Wasn't everything perfect timing if you think about it?
Yeah, because usually then looking back, I feel like we can always connect the dots and see, oh, it had to happen that way. Now that we're coming to the end of the interview, I would love to ask you a few questions that I want to ask all of my guests. What would you tell your 13-year-old self?
I would tell her that you're doing great. Maybe don't wear those stretch pants. Um, and also, life is going to be so much fun. Like, it's hard sometimes, but you just got to wait it out. It is like riding a roller coaster. It goes up, it goes down. And that's the only thing you'll know for sure, is that it's going to go up and then it's going to go down and then it's going to repeat and continue. Like, you can't wait to have fun and enjoy your life, like wait for like calm, because life's just always going to be crazy. And I think I would tell my younger self that, to just like, you know what, shit's stressful and things are happening, but find a way to still have fun, because it's just gonna happen whether you like it or not. So
Have you ever experienced a synchronicity in your life?
yeah, I have, meeting you twice.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I
interesting.
experience it a lot, like, because I pay attention. But that is the one of the big ones that's just like, oh, okay. I guess it's a sign.
That's amazing. Yeah. And last question now. Can you tell me about a time when the kindness of a stranger has made a difference in your life?
I think when anyone just says, have a nice day, or smiles at me on the street, or holds the door open for me, or one time I was walking with the kids across the street and a car almost hit us and tried to, like, get around us. and this guy in front of us like threw himself in front of us and like hit on the car. So
Oh, wow.
that was like a stranger doing something nice. Like just like things like that, people just doing random things that happens. I notice it a lot.
Jenny, thank you so much for coming on and for the great conversation. I'm so excited that you're one of my very first guests. Really means a lot, and I really appreciate you coming on. Yeah, and I hope you'll come back soon.
Yeah, we'll talk about the astrology. We can talk about the Saturn return. Scares a lot of people.
I would love that. That would be
Any of the
awesome.
retrogrades, we can talk about that too.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Jenny. Love you so much, and I'm so happy to see you so happy. I mean, I see you all the time, so it's not that we don't talk
I'm still happy.
regularly.
And I'm happy to see you happy. I'm so proud of you, and I'm glad you're finally doing what you need to be doing. So thank you for having me on.
Hi, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. I had so much fun doing this interview. And before we wrap up for today, I also wanted to leave you with a reflection question. The question for the week is, what does chosen family mean to you? And in what ways has chosen family made a difference in your life? Again, thank you so much for joining. If you enjoy the show, I would love it if you could follow, rate, and review. It really helps the show, so I greatly appreciate it. Thank you again, and I hope you're kind to yourself. And until next week, I'm sending you only the very best vibes.